Hey, what's up guys? In this video we are going to be going over a particular workflow using Nerve and Ableton to create some techno ideas. I think Nerve is ripe for making these techno kind of loops. And this is a workflow that I used to use. I used to do this all the time in around 2011, 2012 when I was making a lot of like stripped down driving techno. And Nerve is great because there's a lot of neat little tricks that you can do, and the Precalc effects and the effects in general. There's things that nothing else does quite like it. So to start off, I want to assure you that I'm not running the demo version. I don't know why it says demo. It's registered. I don't know why that's happening, but it seems to be fully functioning. So yeah, so ignore that and let's kind of hop into it. So Nerve is on channel 3. I'm just going to move it to channel 1 just for the sake of, leaving it. I'm going to have it at 127. And I'm just going to load in some samples. So it comes with a lot of drum kits, but I'm going to load in my own. All right, so that's a really good example. So I'm going to drag that in. You can do that. You can just drag it in, and it works. You don't need to right-click and import. You can, but, makes it like really easy. So this is a really good example. This is a very dirty kick. I'll just hit play in Ableton, and it'll just loop this. These are, I think these are called velocity stalks. So this is happening where kick should happen. Just dragged it in. Right, and that's a pretty dirty kick. I can change that, and this is what really sold me on the whole idea of Nerve is these Precalc effects. So these are kind of these effects you can apply to your one shot, and they basically are rendered in place instantly, so that takes a lot of load off your CPU. So one of the effects that's really awesome is this sine wave. So what it'll kind of examine the nature of a kick or any sound, find the kind of main waveform, and you can apply the sine wave to kind of just get rid of all the noise. If you go into the positive value up to 100%, I'll just do that. I'll do that in real time, and you can hear that the dirtiness goes away as we increase that. So it kind of clicks because it has to calculate the effect before it can apply it. These things you really don't want to automate because it'll sound like that. Alternatively, you can remove everything that's a sine wave by going into the negative, and you're left with basically the noise or the transient of the kick, which is super awesome and useful. What you can do is you can, for those that are into layering kicks, you can have that as your top layer and then have another kick full on sine wave, and you can layer them together. And this is kind of like, EQing, but doing something different. So you get like that super smudgy kick kind of situation. And then the sine, the power, the low end of the other kick. And it's it's different than EQing them and kind of matching them. So that's just a way to go about it. Super cool. So there is that. We have our kick here. We can do other things. Something of a mention is snap. So what this does is this does a thing to the transient of the signal, and it makes basically, I don't know kind of what it does. It adds a little bit of clipping to the beginning, but for a very short amount of time. What that does is that'll accentuate the punch of the kick, I guess. And alternatively, you can remove a lot of that and kind of smooth it out. But we'll leave it. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to take out that dirtiness of the kick, so I'll just put the sine wave like that. All right, cool. Let's get into adding some percussive elements to a new pad. I'll do it over to this one. Let's see. Maybe a tom. All right, so that's pretty good. So let's get some velocity stocks going on here. Have something like so, maybe. Or actually, no, we'll just do it this way. I used to do this quite a bit because we're going to be kind of processing it afterwards. Let's take a listen. All right, it doesn't sound that techno-y. I'm going to solo. You can solo these little pads here. And let's go to Precalc. We can add, if we want more of a sub, we can do that. Or we can add a saw just to kind of replace the sinusoidal aspect of the wave, or give it a saw. And that can do some really cool stuff and just add some harmonics. And the filter is down here. State variable filter, low pass, band pass, high pass, cutoff, resonance per pad. So that's pretty cool. More so we can add a square, which is kind of, it has kind of a chiptune effect. Triangle for, you might want to add a triangle, which is different than a sine because it has more harmonics. That sounds okay. And you got your fuzz for distortion. Mind you, these aren't real time. They're calculated and then basically rendered. So every time you move it, it's automatically rendered. And I want the fuzz because I want it to have a lot of harmonics and stuff like that. Ring mod also gives you some like FM stuff. That sounds cool. And you can do a bunch of other things. Soft clip, add even more kind of harmonics. Things like that. Also, we can jump in and we can change the envelope per pad and kind of make it more shorter. The shorter it is, the more kind of driving it is, kind of. And you know what? Yeah, what else can you do? Oh, you can do all sorts of stuff. I was just kind of daydreaming. I was like, yeah, I hope that Nerve gets Nerve 2 one day because it came out in 2010, I believe. And yeah, it's just one of those things that I would love to see someone build upon, someone, namely the creator, Steve Duda. More better, more Precalc Effects, the ability to have more akin to LFO tool for modulation, all sorts of stuff. But we'll get into other cool things it can do. But it's still super duper capable. I'm going to probably get into these later. We have an EQ, which is not real time, but it's there as an example. And then we have plate reverb by a company that makes some pretty good synths. And the dry, or the wet. Wait, enable. Yeah, you have to enable it. And what that does is it just basically renders it out. I'll move this over. Right, we'll just leave that in there just for fun. There's no extra CPU. It just makes the sample, I guess, a little bit longer in RAM, which we have basically unlimited RAM, so you don't even need to worry about it. And yeah, I guess whatever, just for fun, I'll increase the EQ, the low end a bit, which I should do in post, but whatever. Let's just leave that. So there is that. We got our precalcs again. Things we can adjust the start time of the sample by clicking and things like that. And that's all well and cool. But I want to get more movement going on. So how do I do that? Well, I made a very bold and very simplistic statement. I think it was yesterday, and I said that techno is just a bunch of filters, essentially, which is kind of true. That's how techno becomes dark. It's filters. So we're going to use a filter on this. We've added a lot of harmonics with the Precalc effects. We're going to go into our filter, low pass. I'm going to make this a bit shorter. And yeah, okay. So from here, what we can do is we've been working in velocity a lot for this particular pad. Let's go into cutoff. So this changes everything. Kind of our velocity went away, and now we have cutoff. So you can do all sorts of wacky stuff by modulating the cutoff. All right, so I got a bit of something that moves a bit. Bring down the resonance. All right, so there's that, and we can do all sorts of stuff also with pitch. Let's add in another sound. So we'll unsolo this guy. All right, that sounds pretty dope. This is I'm just getting ideas down, and I want to, for those that are still sticking around, there's going to be a super freaking easy way of just moving all these loops into Ableton by just dragging and dropping. Okay. Maybe some percussive percussion. Okay, I'll put that into pad 5. And I'm just getting basic movement here. I want to go over some more Precalc effects. So you have pitch, stretch, and bend, and what this does is this is a granular pitch, so it's not like it's not actually stretching it out. It's actually like splitting it up into grains. I'll solo it for us. So now it sounds like someone's hitting a frying pan. We wanted to repitch. Down here is the ability to repitch. Which adds some really cool stuff there. And that, I'm planning ahead. Maybe I can add a reverb to that down the road. You never know. You don't know what I'm up to. Anyway, we also have stretch here, which will bend. Well, not bend, but it's like it will preserve. It'll preserve the tone, but it won't preserve the tone. It'll preserve the pitch, but it'll stretch it out longer. So yeah, kind of like Ableton, how it can warp. That's essentially the same thing. Bend, we can, make things bendy. And things like that. And we have bend amount. So you see that, like that blue line there? That is the bend. And then we have the bend amount here. So the harshness of the bend at the beginning or the end. So this is a good way to make like kicks very, very way more bendier. I'll give you a better example. So I'll solo this one. So we can bend. We can shape our kick to what we want using the bend, and it's very high quality in terms of that. Okay, I'll unsolo that. let's pan these. Oh, wait. I'm silly. Maybe a little bit too exaggerated, you never know. We can pitch this one up. Yeah, but that might not work. But yeah, there's that. Let's add just hi-hats. Cymbals. Close hi-hat. All right, good example. So we have this hi-hat, and I'll just do full velocity, full systems, except on the kick. All right. So a cool thing about this is you have bit depth and sample rate reduction, and using sample rate reduction on hi-hats makes them sound a bit better. It's or not makes them sound better. It makes them kind of stick out in the mix more. Right? Hear the difference? That's all well and good. We can do some bit reduction, make it more noisier. But yeah, this makes it sound more like drum machine-y, I guess. This would be a better example to use on our pans, so you can just draw some stuff in. And what this does is this adds a bit more movement. All right, so there's that. You know, we can adjust the gate. If we want late, I'm not quite sure what that does. Oh, that makes it kind of late or early, so we do a bit of swing. That's cool. So that could be more applied to that percussion element there. I never actually used late. And then we have effect send as well. So we can kind of route things out, I assume. There's no kind of real-time effect available in Serum, so that's okay. But yeah, anyway, so there's that. Let's kind of see what that sounds like. Let's maybe get some more stuff going on in there. I'll give us a better example. All right, and I'll do that. Oops. And for this kind of pre-calculated effect, maybe do some ring mod. And soft clip. Bring out some of the tries. I can make it like in between notes. So that's pretty cool. We're learning stuff together. So now the reverb tail is rhythmic, just as an idea. And let's just tie it up with a clap. I want to maybe move on because I've been at this for 20 minutes. Okay, so this would be a way for me to demonstrate the late. The late does, so we have our claps here. Right, and you know, it's like, it's pre-delayed, so we'll make it late. Oh wait. Oh wait, no, we gotta make it early. Oh no, we have to have, yeah, I know what we gotta do. Oops. Have it before. You can right click to get rid of these velocity stalks, by the way. We'll make these late. Yes. Oops. And yeah, we can do some stuff with the hi-hats maybe. Nope, changed my mind. All right, so we have this. Let's assume that it's a really super awesome, cool idea. What do we do now? Well, we can just drag them over to Ableton, Control, Alt, and then just start moving our stuff over. We have all these at our disposal, and then I'll just line them up nice and quick. Then what I'll do is I'll just disable the nerve lane or channel, sorry, words. And yeah, I can get into some nitty-gritty stuff. And we have a bit of a fade thing going on here. And these are, yeah, perfectly loopable. They have all the Precalc effects. So what I can do is add effects and things like that to this. And I have the flexibility of doing a bunch of stuff to these things in audio, as opposed to, you know, setting up things and triggering them in Nerve, which you can do. But yeah, let's move on. So I would have this would be like idea A or whatever. Go over to idea B, and I would, you know, let's say I wanted the kick again. That's not a kick, that's a hi-hat. Get the kick going on. I've already committed that kick, and it's also in group A, or pattern A, sorry. I can go into the Precalc Effects and be like, all right, let's bring that sign back. And I could be like, yeah, maybe that kick would be a bit more appropriate with the fuzziness. And then I'll bring that over. Or I can switch it up and then just get the fuzziness of it. How do you? I want to just explain how to drag, copy. How do I copy pad? If I do that, no, that just solos it. By Alt, nope. Alt Shift, what does that do? That's just Control Shift. Sorry. That does is that just renders the pad. So if you're into just using the Precalc Effects, you can actually drag a pad into a sampler, into a drum rack, and that works just fine. But yeah, remember I was saying how you could kind of mix in the kick here. The click of the kick, and then the low end. We can kind of mix those both together using Serum. And I can really affect this guy. And, you know, the sky is the limit, essentially. But the starting point was Nerve. So, yeah, there it is. And then, you know, you just mute the channel, and Nerve is always there when you need it. And it has all of your stuff in there. You save your project. Everything is saved. It's a preset, I believe, and it's all zipped up and ready to go. So, yeah, that's basically it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned stuff. Take care and have a good one.